Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Elle and today I'm going to be chatting about all of the books that I read in April. So April was a really fun month, but towards the end I just kind of got really busy. This week is probably one of the busiest weeks ever. Like the next 2 weeks. My birthday is tomorrow, which is the day I'm going to be putting this up. So if you don't wish me a happy birthday in the comments, I'm just kidding, but I'm super excited and I'm going to be going home to visit my family and we're going to be going out to dinner and all of the fun birthday festivities. And then next week I'm going to be going to Wild and Windy. That I'm just so excited to go to a book signing. I have not been to a book signing since Nashville, which was in 2022. So I'm just so ecstatic, so excited, and I'm so excited to chat about the books that I read in April. I read some amazing ones and some dead, so let's get right into this video. The first book I read in April was Wild River by Laura Pavlov. This is the second book in her Magnolia Falls series. I gave this one 4 stars. It was not a favorite. It did not live up to the hype as much as Loving Romeo did for me. So the hero and heroine kind of like have this like hate to love relationship. They both really dislike each other. The hero is a lawyer, and then the heroine is like in town visiting her dad who is sick, and so they kind of start hanging out because the hero is friends with her dad, and they start a situationship thing, and it was just not my favorite. I do not love the situationship trope. It's just not one of my favorites. I find it kind of like annoying, and just it doesn't leave a foundation for a good romance for me personally, because it's like they're, you know, catching feelings, but then they are like, no, we can't have feelings because we're in this situationship. So it just was not a favorite, and I also really disliked how the hero handled the third act breakup. The only reason this book is getting 4 stars though instead of 3 is I just love all of the side characters in this series. So I am excited for the next book, but this just was not a favorite. Then I read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I gave this one 4.5 stars. It was really, really good. So I listened to this one on audio, and this is such a fun premise. So the hero and heroine have always been the person that somebody dates before they find their person. And so the hero starts off with this post on Reddit, like, you know, the Am I an Asshole post. He was doing that, and he's like, am I the asshole, you know, in this thing he was talking about, and he mentioned that he's always the person that somebody dates before they find like the person they're supposed to end up with. And so the heroine comes across this Reddit page and she agrees with him and is like, I feel this too. And so they start messaging each other and kind of start up a friendship, and it's really, really cute. And then the heroine is a travel nurse, and he basically convinces her to go visit his small town, I think it's in Minnesota, for the summer, and that they would date each other to basically break the curse and help each other find their person. And they end up falling in love, but this one was a lot more depth to it, very, very emotional. The heroine is going through a lot of family stuff with her mom, and the hero is also going through a lot of family stuff with his mom, and he ends up having to take care of his younger siblings. So they're both just not at a place right now to be fully committed to each other, but they're just so obsessed with each other, and they just like, I just loved how cute and just obsessed they were with each other. It was so adorable. Like after their dates, they just like during their dates they just wouldn't want them to end because they were just like, I just want to hang out with you more and more. And it was just so cute. I did give this 4.5 stars because in the beginning it was a little slow. But otherwise this was such a solid romance. Definitely a favorite from Abby Jimenez. So good. Listen to the audiobook. It was amazing. Then I have Secrets and Masks by Emerald Slytherin. This is a Hermione fan fiction. I gave this one 5 stars. This was epic, like epic on the level of Manacled for me. So the author actually says this is inspired by Manacled, but it's not the same at all to Manacled, really. I mean, it is a Hermione fan fiction. So anyways, Hermione is a part of the Order, and she is doing this like big battle scene, and she ends up being kidnapped by Draco Malfoy. And in this fanfic, Draco is actually the right-hand man of Voldemort, and so Voldemort is like, I need you to take her hostage and kidnap her, but like have her be a prisoner in your home. So that's kind of where the story starts, and they start spending more and more time together, but they absolutely hate each other, and he also has to like go into her mind and like figure out stuff. And they slowly start to, it's a very slow burn romance. It's like slow burn, like friends to lovers, I mean hate to love to friends to lovers. It was just so good. It's so epic, like so many like amazing secrets and turns, and just all of this amazing character growth and building. And I loved all of the side characters. They were really fun. I don't want to give spoilers and tell you them. There is some like dragon content in this one that was a lot of fun, but I just love how epic their romance was. It's different from Manacled, and I still love Manacled. I think Manacled is still my top fanfic, but I love this one even more. It was more action-packed, I feel like, where Manacled is more like exposition, like you're kind of like being told stuff and things are happening, but like this was so much action in it and lots of things happening, and it just felt like such a true like fantasy romance, and I absolutely loved it. This was very long. It's like 1,000 pages, but it is worth it. Trust me, it was amazing. So good. Then I decided to read Lovely Return by Carrie Cole. This is a forbidden reincarnation romance, and this honestly kind of grossed me out. I gave it 3 stars. I did not love it. It's supposed to be like an age gap, and so his wife dies and she is also pregnant. And so then it's like years later, and then the heroine is like a little girl, and she's having all of these like visions of being in this house and being married to the hero. And so when she's like young, she's calling him her husband and being like, that's the house I grew up, like that's where I'm supposed to be. It just felt kind of creepy. And also it's supposed to be forbidden, but it just felt like way too sweet for the premise of the story. I like wanted more angst. So it just was not a favorite, and I kind of like forced myself to read it. So I just didn't love this one. It just didn't work for me. And I just didn't love the way the reincarnation was handled. It just felt kind of icky and gross to me. Then I did a reread of Kill Switch by Penelope Douglas. I just was in the mood because all of these new releases that I'm going to talk about in a minute released towards the end of April, like the second half. So I was like struggling finding what to read. So I just reread a favorite. I love Kill Switch. It is amazing. It is about Damon and Winter, and they have a past together, and Damon ends up marrying her sister to kind of get back at Winter and get control over her and her life. And it's a crazy ride. It is such a fun book. I love it so much. I love Damon. I still think about that one line where they're like, just after they had, you know, a sex scene, and he's like, you know, she's like, I'm never gonna have your children, and he's like, you're gonna have lots of my children. And I just love that. I love it. A favorite, amazing. If you haven't read this series yet, you need to. It is so good. Then I have Lady Temps and Air by Harper St. George. I have slowly been making my way through the rest of the series, and I've been really enjoying this whole series. It's so good. I didn't love the first book in the series, but the second and third one are amazing. So the heroine and hero kind of are like acquaintances, like know each other through family friends. The hero is actually an American and the heroine is English, and they kind of start fake dating because he really wants to get his dad off his back of trying to find somebody to marry, and she is like kind of in on it because she is also a widow and she just wants to kind of be out in society and but not have to marry somebody else. So they start having like a fake relationship, like fake courting, and it was so fun. I really love this one. I ended up giving it 5 stars because they really fell so hard for each other, but she deals with a lot of like trigger warning for infertility, and so that was like a big, you know, tension in the relationship because she's like, I don't want you to not be able to, you know, pass on your legacy, and he's like, I don't care about that, like I just want to be with you. And it was so good. Very angsty, just amazing. Loved it. Listened to the audiobook. It was fantastic. Then I have probably my favorite book of the month, which is Wild Love by Elsa Silver. I absolutely adored this book. It was just so adorable and so much like pining, and just made me so giddy and like happy to read. I was just loving this romance when I was listening to it. So Ford and Rosie have known each other their whole lives. Ford is best friends with her older brother, and she is coming back into town after she was fired from her job because her boss basically tried to assault her, and she was like, no, like I do not, you know, find you attractive or want that to happen. And so like HR fired her, and so she's just like devastated and is coming back to her small town to like figure out stuff. And the hero is recently a billionaire, and he recently found out that he has a 12-year-old daughter, and his daughter needs to stay with him because her parents are going through some stuff. And he actually donated sperm when he was a teenager, and that was the product of this kid. And I just loved how awkward and cute he was, like trying to connect with a 12-year-old girl. It was just adorable. It was so cute. And Rosie ends up working for him because he has also like a record company. That's how he became a billionaire and works with different artists. And this was just such an adorable romance. I loved it. It's like childhood friends to lovers, really A+ banter, so much pining, and it was just adorable. I love this one. 5 stars. Then I have Midnight of Ashes by Tessa Hale. This is the second book in this like Dragon Shifter romance series, and I've been loving this series. I was so ecstatic to get an arc of this one and just to dive into it because I was dying for this romance because the first book left off on a major cliffhanger. So this picks right up after the cliffhanger of the first book, and I just loved how this really solidified a lot of relationships with all of the heroes. This is a Why Choose Dragon Shifter romance series, super action packed, and we got to learn more secrets and get more character development, and I love this one. I gave it 5 stars. You should definitely check out this series. The audiobooks are amazing. They are so good, and they're very quick reads, so you can get through them pretty fast. But I love this series, and I cannot wait for the 3rd book. Then I have another exciting new release, which was Pirate Girls by Penelope Douglas. I love Penelope Douglas. She is one of my favorite authors of all time, and I was so excited to read this because it had been a while since Fall Boys, I think, as the first book came out. So I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna remember characters, but I really enjoyed this one. So the hero and heroine have kind of like grown up together. She is actually the daughter of Jared and Tate, and she, you know, is kind of like wanting to go out on her own, and she's kind of like a tomboy, and her dad just wants her to be safe and like not do the things that he loves to do, but she's like, that's really hypocritical. And she has always kind of felt this attraction to her step cousin, but they're not related in any way, and he ended up moving away a year ago because of like some drama that happened with his twin brother. And so she ends up making a deal with this rival school, with her like big rivals, where she will be taken as like prisoner for like 2 weeks, and she'll go to the school and kind of be with them because it's this like prisoner exchange thingy. It's kind of like complicated to explain a little bit, and he ends up being at the school because he switched schools to this school, and so now she has to be around him all the time, and it's very angsty, lots of tension because he's like, you know, I moved away to get away from my brother and you kind of, but he is kind of also looking out for her, and it's very like a complicated romance and kind of messy, but I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I didn't like absolutely die hard love it, but it was really good. Like, I don't know how to describe it because all of the books that I've read by her, I've like absolutely loved 5 stars. So it was just like a little like, like I don't know if I'm totally obsessed with this, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm giving it 4.5 stars. I don't think it deserves 4 stars because I still really enjoyed it, but it wasn't like amazing, a totally new favorite, if that makes sense. Then I have Rogue of Fifth Avenue by Joanna Shupe. I have been needing to start this series for years. They have been on my TBR for so long, and I finally got to it on audio, and I am so mad at myself that I waited so long. This was so freaking good. So the heroine is the daughter of a client that the hero works for. The hero is a lawyer, and she's just kind of like always up to mischief, doing stuff, and he started to kind of like look out for her, and they kind of start working together because she is also trying to help this. She loves to give back to the community in New York. This is a Gilded Age romance, and this woman, she is basically being charged with murder for her husband who was abusing her, and so the heroine is trying to help, and she enlisted the hero to help because he's a lawyer. And so they start working together, and they have so much chemistry and like tension, but he's like, I cannot go there with you, like you are an uptown girl, an elite society woman, like I can't go there with you, and I also work for your dad. And she's like, well, I really like you. And it was just such a fun Gilded Age romance. I really enjoyed it. I give it 5 stars. I loved like the secrecy of them being in a relationship, and then also like him being like, well, maybe we should get married, and she's like, no, like you need to propose to me and want to be with me to marry me, not just because we were together intimately. And I love that about her and how like independent she was. This one, it just worked so well for me, and I loved it. 5 stars. Then I go to read the newest book by Ashley Munoz, which is Where We Promise. This one was so good. Oh my god, I loved it so much. I think I might alter my rating to like 4.5 just because of a couple things. Something that I've noticed in this series is that Ashley Munoz really loves to do flashbacks, which is fine, but flashbacks are just not my favorite, especially when they don't add a ton to the story, and that's what I felt like kind of happened with this story. So the hero and heroine have known each other for years. They grew up together in this motorcycle club, and the heroine was dating this guy that was, I think, like the vice president of the club, and he got her pregnant and basically left her and her baby in the dust. And so now, to protect her, the hero's like, well, you can marry me and I could, you know, be like raise him with you and all this stuff. It's like a fake marriage though, but they, you know, start growing closer and rekindling their friendship, and they had some sparks a couple of years ago, and it was just a really good romance. I loved how obsessed they were with each other and like how much tension was between them because they wanted to go there in the past, but it was just never the right time. And this was so good, and I loved how he just like loved her as a person, not for her body. And I just love this. It was so good. It was amazing. The things that I didn't love were just the flashbacks, because it'd be like we're seeing them in high school and it's like I don't really care about this, so I would kind of like flip through it like I don't, it wasn't like adding to the story. It was just like unnecessary. So that's why I would give it 4.5 stars, but I would give the romance 5 stars, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna give it 4.5 this time. But I love the series, and there's lots of action with the MC, and they're staying in another MC trying to, you know, protect her and her baby. And I just love this one so much. Then I have Prince of Broadway by Joanna Shupe. This one was, this is the second book in the, I think it's like Uptown Rebels, or no, Uptown Girl series. I don't really remember what the series is called, but this is just the second book, and this is her sister Florence, and she is the wild child of the family. She really wants to open up her own casino, and she ends up starting to like connect with this really famous casino owner who is the hero, and he is basically going to teach her how to gamble and like, I guess, do it under, because it's illegal at this point, I think, in time. And so they kind of start hanging out together, and he's giving her lessons, but then he's like, in exchange, I want to like hang out with you. And she's like, I don't know. But I just remember really enjoying this one. It was a lot of fun. Like, you know, they would have an exchange for him teaching her, like she would have to hang out with him, but she wanted to hang out with him, and it was really good. It's also forbidden because he is, you know, this notorious like owner of this like gambling club, and you know, her dad's very strict and an elitist in society, and that was fun to like see them navigate that. But I really like this one. I give it 5 stars. And then the last book I read in April was The Devil in the Deep Blue Sea by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I listened to this one on audio, and it was a lot of fun. So the heroine is a famous pop star, and she's going on a trip to Hawaii with her ex-boyfriend's family, and she has to be around her ex-boyfriend's older brother all the time, and they just do not get along, and they have to go on this trip together. There's a lot of tension between them, but then they kind of start hanging out more and, you know, start catching feelings. But she is supposed to be on the trip with his brother, so it's getting a little messy, and I love this one. I love how it was like hate to love, but then they finally really understood like each other as a person, which I really appreciated, and this one was 5 stars for me. It got kind of emotional towards the end because I just feel like a lot of the characters that Elizabeth O'Rourke writes, like the female main character, it's just like they just don't feel good enough, and I love seeing that growth in the book of them realizing like, no, like I'm a catch, like I am an amazing person, you would be lucky to have me. And I just love that. I love like that self-confidence. So this was 5 stars for me. He's also a doctor, and I think he does like Doctors Without Borders, and he has been going to Somalia, so there's some like dangerous stuff happening there, and it was just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this one. All right, well, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed hearing me chat about all of the romances I read in April. Definitely down below, let me know your favorite romance that you read in April, because I would love to know. And I want to thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.
I was never the one to write up a song for just anyone. I was always the one to find myself lost in long conversations, oh, 'cause I've always been told that things will unfold if you